There is a moment in many relationships that feels like love. It arrives quietly, usually on an ordinary evening, not during a significant conversation or a deliberate decision. It arrives when one partner is exhausted and the other is capable, and there's a stack of bills on the kitchen table, and someone says, "Can you just handle this?" And the other partner says, "Yes." And the first partner feels, in that moment, an enormous and genuine relief. It is not a bad moment. It is a human moment. It is the moment that millions of women have experienced in millions of kitchens across this country. The moment where dividing responsibilities felt efficient, felt reasonable, felt like the kind of practical love that keeps a household running. What most of those women did not know, what nobody told them, is that the moment they handed over that folder, they started a clock. Not a dramatic clock, not one you can hear ticking, a quiet clock, measuring the distance between who they were financially before that moment and who they would need to be if life ever required them to stand alone. Carolyn had been married for 16 years when her husband David was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's disease at 54. She was 52. She had worked part-time for most of their marriage because it made sense. His career paid more, the children needed someone available, and the arrangement had always felt fair and mutual and chosen. David had managed their finances completely for 14 years, not because he demanded it, because he was good at it, and because Carolyn trusted him completely, and because trust felt like a good reason to stop paying attention. When David's diagnosis arrived, Carolyn needed to understand their complete financial picture immediately. What they had, what they owed, what insurance covered, what it didn't, what the retirement accounts held, and what the rules were for accessing them, what the mortgage balance was, and how long they had left on it. She did not know any of it, not because David had hidden it, because she had never needed to know, and need had never arrived until suddenly it arrived all at once. She spent 3 weeks in a state of financial discovery that felt, she told me, like learning that the house you had lived in for 16 years had rooms you had never opened, not because they were locked, because she had never reached for the handle. Carolyn's story is not unusual. It is not even rare. It is the story of millions of women who are, right now, living in the financial equivalent of a house with unopened rooms. And today we are going through 6 rules that protect you without requiring you to distrust the person you love, without blowing up the partnership, and without turning your relationship into a financial audit. These rules are not about suspicion. They are about ensuring that you remain a whole person financially, regardless of what life hands you. Let me give you the numbers before we get to the rules, because the numbers are why this conversation is not optional. 40% of marriages end in divorce. The average woman who divorces in her 40s loses approximately 41% of her household income overnight, not gradually, overnight. One household becomes 2. One income, in many cases, has to cover what 2 incomes previously covered. Widowhood affects 900,000 Americans every year. 80% of those who are widowed are women, because women live longer and because women are more likely to be the younger partner in a heterosexual marriage. The average age of widowhood for American women is 59, not 79, 59, with potentially 25 years of financial life ahead, and in many cases, no direct experience managing the household finances independently. And financial abuse, defined as a partner controlling, limiting, or manipulating access to money as a means of control, affects an estimated 99% of domestic abuse cases. It is the most common tool of control in abusive relationships, and it works most effectively on women who have allowed their financial identity to merge completely with their partners, women who have no individual credit, no independent accounts, no financial knowledge that exists outside the relationship. These 3 scenarios, divorce, widowhood, financial control, are the 3 moments where a woman who has outsourced her financial life pays the highest possible price for having done so. And in every case, the damage is not caused by the scenario itself. It is caused by the financial dependence that made the scenario catastrophic rather than difficult. Difficult is manageable. Catastrophic is what happens when the difficulty arrives and there is no foundation to stand on. 2 in 5 women who divorce report having had no idea what their household's complete financial picture looked like during their marriage. No idea what retirement accounts existed. No idea what investment accounts held. No idea what the mortgage balance was, or what was in the joint savings, or what insurance policies were active. 2 in 5. That is not a small number. That is not a rare situation. That is the majority experience of women who go through divorce, discovering at the worst possible moment that they had been a passenger in their own financial life without realizing the car was moving. I want to be absolutely clear about something before we move forward. This is not a story about bad partners. Carolyn's David was not hiding anything. He was a loving, present, involved husband who happened to manage the finances because he was good at it and because the arrangement made sense. And because nobody, not Carolyn, not David, not the financial system, not the culture around them, ever suggested that Carolyn needed to know what David knew. The problem is not the partner. The problem is the arrangement, and the arrangement is fixable. Without confrontation, without distrust, and without turning a loving partnership into a financial negotiation. Here are the 6 rules that fix it.
Rule 1. Complete your financial inventory this week. Before anything else, before the accounts, before the meetings, before anything on this list. You need to know what exists. I call this the financial inventory. It is a complete picture of every financial element of your household, written down in one place, accessible to you independently. Every checking account, institution, balance, your login credentials. Every savings account, every retirement account, 401k, IRA, pension, in your name, in your partner's name, and jointly. Every investment account, the mortgage balance and the institution that holds it. Every credit card, balance, limit, minimum payment. Every insurance policy, life, health, disability, home. Every debt, every automatic payment, the location of every physical financial document. If you cannot answer these questions about your own household right now, you have a vulnerability that needs addressing this week, not eventually, this week. Carolyn spent 3 weeks reconstructing this picture during the most stressful period of her life. You can spend one evening building it during an ordinary one. The difference between those two experiences, the calm inventory versus the crisis reconstruction, is the entire argument for doing it now. Sit down with your partner, frame it as something you are doing together, a household financial review, an annual check-in, a responsible adult exercise that every couple should do, and most don't. It does not need to be framed as distrust. It needs to be framed as preparation, because that is exactly what it is. Rule 2. Maintain your own accounts, always. Every woman, regardless of relationship status, regardless of how good the relationship is,
Regardless of how much she trusts her partner, needs a checking account, a savings account, and a credit card in her name alone. This is not about secrecy. It is not about planning for the relationship to end. It is about maintaining a financial identity that exists independently of the relationship. Because financial identity, once surrendered, is extraordinarily difficult to rebuild. Your credit score is your financial fingerprint. It determines whether you can rent an apartment, finance a car, or qualify for a mortgage. It is built through years of individual credit history, payments made in your name on accounts in your name, recorded against your social security number. If your only credit exists on joint accounts, your individual credit score is either very thin or non-existent. If the relationship ends, through divorce, through death, through anything life delivers, you may find yourself unable to rent an apartment in your own name because you have no individual credit history. Not because you did anything wrong, because you trusted someone completely and let your individual financial identity dissolve into the joint one. Zoe, who you met in script 4, discovered this at 31 when she ended a 4-year relationship and went to rent her first solo apartment. Her credit check came back thin. Not bad, thin, because every credit account she'd held for 4 years was a joint account with her former partner. Individually, she barely existed on paper. It took her 18 months to rebuild individual credit history, 18 months of careful, deliberate credit building that she should never have needed to do because she should never have let her individual credit identity disappear in the first place. Your own checking account, your own savings account, your own credit card used regularly, paid in full every month. These are not threats to your relationship. They are the infrastructure of your individual financial identity. Maintain them, always. Rule 3. Never stop contributing to your own retirement. This is the rule with the largest long-term financial consequence, and it is the rule most commonly abandoned in partnerships where one partner earns significantly more than the other. The logic seems sound in the moment. He earns more. His 401k contributions are worth more in absolute dollar terms. It makes sense to maximize his retirement contributions before worrying about hers. The math appears to favor concentration. The math is wrong, and here's why. A Roth IRA in your name is yours. A 401k in your name is yours. A joint investment account is subject to division in divorce proceedings. If you have spent years contributing exclusively to joint savings in your partner's retirement account because the household income logic seemed to support it, you have spent years building assets that you may not have full claim to if the relationship ends. Diane, who you met in Script 1, discovered at 44 that the joint investment account she had considered her retirement security was subject to division in the divorce proceedings. Half of it was hers, half went with Michael. The Roth IRA she had contributed to briefly in her late 20s, before the children, before the arrangement, before she stopped thinking of her finances as separate, fully hers. Every dollar, no division, no negotiation. Factually, she had $4,200 in the Roth IRA. She wished it were $40,000. She wished she had never stopped contributing. She wished someone had told her in the kitchen on that Tuesday evening when she handed Michael the folder that her individual retirement account was the one financial thing that would remain entirely hers regardless of what happened. Contribute to your own Roth IRA every single year. Even if it's a small amount, even if your partner earns 3 times what you earn and his 401k contributions dwarf yours, your Roth IRA is yours. That distinction matters. It may matter more than you can currently imagine. Rule 4. Attend every financial meeting and actually engage. If your household works with a financial advisor, both partners attend every meeting. Not to accompany your partner, to participate. Research on financial advisor behavior in mixed gender couples has documented a consistent pattern. Advisors are more likely to direct explanations, recommendations, and direct questions toward the male partner, even when the female partner is equally present and equally the client. The dynamic is rarely explicit. It is a pattern of small, accumulated assumptions: who to address when explaining a complex product, who to look at when asking for a decision, whose follow-up questions to pursue further. The result is that women who attend financial meetings as the secondary participant, present but not engaged, listening but not questioning, leave those meetings with less information than their partner received in the same room from the same advisor in the same hour. The correction is simple, and it requires no confrontation of the advisor. Come prepared with questions, written down, specific, yours. Ask them. If an explanation is directed at your partner, redirect it. "Can you explain that part to me directly?" is a complete sentence. It requires no justification. Ask what every product costs in fees. Ask what the advisor earns from each recommendation. Ask what the alternative options are and why this one was recommended over them. You are not a guest at your own financial meeting. You are the client. Engage accordingly. Rule 5. Establish a monthly money meeting. This is the rule that builds shared financial literacy gradually, sustainably, and without the pressure of a single high-stakes conversation. A monthly money meeting is not an audit. It is not a performance review of your partner's financial management. It is a 30-minute standing meeting. First Sunday of the month, both partners at the table, laptop open, where you review the household financial picture together. The agenda is simple and consistent. What came in this month? What went out? What is in each account? What changed from last month? What is coming up in the next 30 days that requires financial planning? That's it. 30 minutes, once a month. Both of you informed, both of you engaged, both of you capable of operating the household financial picture independently if necessary. Carolyn and David instituted this meeting after his diagnosis, not as a response to distrust, as a response to necessity. Within 6 months, Carolyn understood their complete financial picture with the same clarity David had. She knew where every account was, what it held, what the rules were for accessing it, and what the plan was for the years ahead. She told me that the monthly money meeting was the thing that gave her back her agency, not the diagnosis, not the fear, the 30 minutes every first Sunday of the month where she stopped being a passenger and started being a co-pilot. You do not need a crisis to start. You just need a calendar invitation and 30 minutes. Set it up this week. Rule 6. Know the difference between delegation and dependence. This is the most important distinction on this list, and the one most couples have never consciously made. Delegation is when one partner manages specific financial tasks because they are better at it, because the division of labor makes sense, because efficiency matters, while both partners maintain full visibility and understanding of what is being managed. Dependence is when one partner manages the finances and the other has no independent access to, understanding of, or capability to operate the household financial picture without the managing partner present. Delegation is a system. Dependence is a vulnerability. The difference between them is not who does the work. It's whether both partners could take over tomorrow if they had to. In delegation, both could. In dependence, one couldn't. In Carolyn and David's marriage for 14 years, the arrangement was dependence dressed in the language of delegation. David managed the finances. Carolyn trusted David. Trust, in this context, was not a substitute for knowledge, it was a replacement for it. And when knowledge was urgently needed, trust could not provide it. Look honestly at your household arrangement. Ask yourself one question. If your partner was not available tomorrow, not through anything dramatic, not through anything you're planning for, just not available, could you operate your household finances independently and confidently? If the answer is yes, you have delegation. If the answer is no, or not entirely, or I think so but I'm not sure, you have dependence. And dependence has a conversion that starts tonight with the financial inventory.
Carolyn is 54 now. David's condition has progressed, but he is still present, still engaged, still the person she married. The financial picture she reconstructed in 3 weeks of crisis has become the financial picture she maintains monthly in 30 minutes of preparation. She knows every account. She knows every balance. She knows what is in the retirement funds and what the rules are for the years ahead. She has her own credit card. She opened one 6 months after the diagnosis, in her name, because she understood for the first time what it meant to not have one. She has attended every meeting with their financial advisors since then, asking the questions she did not know to ask before. She is not managing the finances alone. David still does much of it, on the days when he is well enough and engaged enough and wants to. But Carolyn is no longer a passenger. She is a co-pilot who could fly the plane if she needed to. That shift did not happen because of the diagnosis. It happened because she let the diagnosis teach her something she should have known for 16 years. The unopened rooms in the house were never locked. She just never reached for the handle. You do not need a diagnosis to reach for it. You just need to decide that your financial life is too important to live in only half of. 6 rules, all of them achievable, none of them requiring distrust. 1. The financial inventory. Complete it this week. Know every account, every balance, every institution. Build the picture during an ordinary evening so you never have to reconstruct it during a crisis one. 2. Your own accounts, always. Individual checking, individual savings, individual credit card. Your financial identity exists independently of your relationship. Maintain it. 3. Never stop contributing to your own retirement. Your Roth IRA is yours regardless of what happens. Diane's $4,200 was hers. She wished it had been more. Make it more. 4. Attend and engage in every financial meeting. Come with written questions, direct explanations back to yourself. You are the client. Engage accordingly. 5. The monthly money meeting. 30 minutes, first Sunday of the month. Both of you at the table. Both of you informed. Both of you capable. 6. Know the difference between delegation and dependence. Delegation is a system. Dependence is a vulnerability. The distinction starts with one honest question. Could you operate your household finances independently tomorrow if you had to? Carolyn spent 3 weeks in crisis reconstruction because nobody gave her these 6 rules before she needed them. You have them now. Use them before you need them. Your one action this week is to start the financial inventory. You do not have to complete it in one sitting. You do not have to have a difficult conversation. You just have to open a document, or a notebook, or a spreadsheet, whatever you will actually use, and start writing down every financial account your household holds. Institution, balance, your individual login credentials. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Write down everything you know, then identify the gaps, the things you don't know, the accounts you are not sure exist, the balances you can't access. Those gaps are the starting point for the monthly money meeting. I will link a free financial inventory template in the description.
Every category, every field, a version you can fill in digitally or print and complete by hand. We'll be talking about the high-income poverty trap, specifically why high-earning women are among the most financially vulnerable people in America right now, and the 5-step framework for escaping a trap that most high earners don't even know they're in. If you earn well and still feel financially stretched, that video is the explanation you've been looking for. Subscribe and share this video with a woman in your life who is in a good relationship, who trusts her partner completely, and who has never once thought of financial dependence as something that could apply to her. That woman is exactly who this video is for. Because the women who most need these rules are the ones who feel the least urgency to apply them.